Welcome, everybody, to this week's edition of Valpo Baseball Weekly. Brandon Vickery with you. Glad to be joined by the head coach of the Valpo Baseball program, Brian Schmack. Valpo Baseball Weekly is brought to you by our friends at Lakeshore Bone and Joint Institute. And as we look back at a weekend series against Dallas Baptist, starting with Saturday, and I thought the big bright spot of Saturday was the performance on the mound. The two Libertyville natives combined for a pretty good day on the mound in game one, and game two, 12 strikeouts and no walks. What did you see from the pitching staff on Saturday?
Yeah, I thought we did a good job of attacking them. We talked before the series about not trying to make mistakes and, they have to beat us. We can't beat ourselves. And I thought we did a pretty good job of that on the mound. You look at Fields' game and I thought he pitched really well. 3 of the 5 runs that scored, though, were, a guy that got on via a walk or a hit by pitch. So when you start talking about that, they're not going to be perfect, but you just give those guys extra opportunities and you have to limit those. So, game 2, when you go no walks and they said 12 strikeouts, they ended up beating you in those situations. And I think it was one inning that they got a lot of their runs. And that proved to be the difference, but you're proud of the guys for going after them. And that's the type of performance we want on the mound and type of attitude we want to have is to, if you're going to beat us, you're going to have to beat us. We're not going to beat ourselves. So I was happy with that.
I'm going to ask you about Connor Lockwood. He struggled early in the season, has really turned it around his last handful of outings. Has to be good to see a freshman develop in that way. What's different about the way he's pitching of late?
His stuff was always pretty good, and we really were high on him in the fall. Again, coming out of the early preseason, we liked him. We were talking about putting him in the rotation. He was one of those guys, and then I just think he experienced what a freshman experiences. I mean, he got hit, and he thought he could just maybe lay the ball over the middle, and if you ask him, he would say the same thing. So, him able to get these midweek starts has been key, and he's done well against Notre Dame. He's done well against Purdue, and it's just the experience that he's gaining, and that's what most freshmen need. They need game innings, and he's been benefiting from that. And you can see his confidence, ticking up a little bit. He's pitching with more conviction, which is, again, what we want. And the results have shown. So he's getting great opportunities, and now he takes it in conference weekend, and he does really well against one of the best teams in the nation. So it's been great to see.
Kyle Schmack homered in the first inning of the first game on Saturday, but then nothing across the rest of that day. What made it a tough day to hit? What made it a tough day for your team offensively?
Well, I think what made it a tough day to hit was DBU's pitching. I mean, it's the best collection of arms we've seen all year. And, just mix of velo and stuff and location. I thought, in Saturday's days particularly, and you could talk to Dan and say the same thing. I think the zone was expanded a little bit as well. And anytime you're given a ball or two off the plate against, teams like that, it's going to be a tough day. So, credit to them for making good pitches. And, we just have to learn how to scratch things across. I think yesterday's game was good because, we manufactured those runs. And sure, I think we got on an error. I think it was a triple, then a double, but then we were able to hit a fly ball to move a guy over, and then a ground ball to score him. And we need to be able to do those things. In the 3-0 baseball game, we had opportunities to do that, and we had strikeouts in both instances where a ground ball to shortstop would have scored 1 run each time, and now it's a 3-2 baseball game. So, some of the guys not being able to execute and just put the ball in play was the difference, and we have to be able to do that.
You've had a lot of fairly close games. The vast majority of your games in conference have been competitive, but you come up a little short in a lot of those games, and maybe the record isn't where you'd love it to be. What's your message to the team right now with 2 weekends left in the year?
Keep grinding. They're learning life lessons. They're learning how to deal with adversity and how to battle and persevere. And we have to be able to do that because at some point it'll flip. Like I said, we'll start winning some of those games, and then we'll start feeling like we can win those games. And I think that's what happens. We got a young team. We keep saying that, but it's true. And when you look at the teams we're playing and they're older, they know how to handle those types of things. So we have to understand that I just need a ground ball short instead of needing a home run or a gapper to drive him in. We just have to be able to make those things. And older teams do that. You talk to some of the other coaches in the league about that stuff, and they're telling me, their shortstop this past weekend's a 5th-year guy, and the game experience and how the game slows down for him is very obvious, and that's what we're waiting for to happen. You can't rush that. It comes with time, and unfortunately, you take some lumps during that time, but you hope the reward is worth it at the end.
Although a young team, you do have a few seniors you'll celebrate this coming weekend. What's it going to be like to celebrate the senior class on Sunday?
It's always awesome. It's always emotional because those guys go through so much. We do recruit a lot of high school kids, so you have them for 4 to 5 years, and it's always sad to see them go. So we just look forward to them being around for the last couple of weeks. And not all of them are major contributors, but that doesn't really matter here. I mean, I think they're just good people, and it's sad to see those guys go because they are great people and they're going to do great things after this. So you'd like to be a part of that journey, and we're looking forward to that weekend.
There he is, the head coach of the Valpo baseball program, Brian Schmack. No midweek game this week as the team wraps up finals, and then we'll have a final home weekend as Bradley's in town Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and good weather expected out at Emory G. Bauer Field. So that'll be a good sight to see. The Valpo Baseball Weekly is brought to you by Lakeshore Bone and Joint Institute, and we'll talk to you again next week.